6 Feet Blunder was a game I made for the fun of it. The stress of school and the stress of another project I was working on at the time led to me making it. At the time, there were a couple of videos I used to rewatch almost daily. Namely, it was stream VODs of a streamer by the name of Vinesauce Vinny. Most commonly, it was either his Hilux VODs or his Space Funeral VOD. Inevitably, the amount of times I rewatched these VODs influenced me to make 6 Feet Blunder to be how it is today. 6 Feet Blunder is a game that I would describe as an RPG Maker game which initially followed Space Funeral as a template. In fact, you could dissect the game and see that for yourself. If you don't know what Space Funeral is, it is an RPG Maker game with crude visuals but a silly sense of humor. It is short and it usually takes someone 1 hour to play it in its entirety. Essentially, how I did the pacing of the game's progression was with a repeating pattern that displayed town, outskirts, boss, repeat. That being said, there are a lot of things on the side that fill up the majority of the game. That of which being silly gags and jokes in almost every corner of the game. Admittedly, a lot of the stuff probably aren't funny, but I had fun making it. Some of the gags come into the enemy designs and names. To name a few, we got the Dildrome, Yare Yare, Fat Ass with Glock, Potato with Wheel, Man Tits, and a Broken Blender. In the numerous gags I put in the game, some of them may seem completely pointless, but the thing is, some of them aren't. You see, the world of 6 Feet Blunder, lore-wise, functions somewhat consistently. Some of the random gags that you think is just some goofy reference to something in the internet is actually something that connects into the game's final plot twist.
Never buy no weed from the gas station, bro. Look at me, bro. I'm hideous.
Which I will not say, although admittedly, this plot twist wasn't initially planned. When I first made the game, it was but a silly game that was like Space Funeral. There were some side quests that unlocked other side quests, which presented the player with some harder fights. If you complete all optional content, a character named Judgment walks up to you and tells you that you're strong enough for the final area. You could see this character Judgment all around the map as you journeyed throughout the game, watching you from a distance. A comment on the game's page asked about Judgment and whether or not they missed any content. I said that they didn't and that Judgment was just there to tell the player that all side content has been finished, to which they then said that they thought that her presence felt more important and thought that something was missing. So I decided to see what I could do to the game. Eventually, that led me to tweak the gameplay a bit and retcon the true ending, after connecting together some one-off jokes into a massive plot twist. Ultimately, I think 6 Feet Blunder has the best plot twist amongst my completed games, and is perhaps the game that I would recommend to the most people because it's silly and not that hard. Like in Space Funeral, there are free healing points scattered around. As for when you die in a battle, you just warp back to where you last healed. This aspect is in similar design to Hilux, as in Hilux, if you die, you just get sent to a place known as the Afterlife, where you could upgrade yourself and other things.
And Wayne is now dead. Wait, what the hell? So this is the Afterlife. Feel free to crash on the couch. You can use the machine over there to convert any meat you found into flesh points. What? The executive balcony is down the stairs. Only those who have died 3 times are allowed there. You need to die 2 more times. What? This is the best thing ever.
Actually, the first version of the game is not the first version that I uploaded on itch.io. Initially, it had a checkpoint system akin to Hilux's teleporting crystals. You didn't level up and increase your max HP by using loot from enemies. The first version got corrupted and the game couldn't work, so I had to remake the game from the ground up. By that time, however, only 2 areas of the game had been done, so it's not like a lot was lost. Some systems of the oldest version got added to the version 2, and I think it's a pretty decent experience. If you played the game before and you've replayed it a lot since it's short, then I've got news for you. I just updated the game and I've added a higher difficulty option which includes a lengthy and difficulty exclusive side quest. The higher difficulty just changes a few things. In a normal playthrough, there are these free healing spots, and at the harder difficulty, they are replaced with save points. So there are no more free heals, and you can only save on those save points. Also, if you die, you gotta reload a save now. The gameplay for this side quest is, honestly speaking, it's like you're playing a different game, but in the same time, it captures the same humor that the rest of the game has. Honestly, making this small update reminded me of how I made this game. I made it with a mindset of giving no shits. Making a lot of jokes on almost every corner of the game feels really good, and it's really fun. Some character designs can be as wild as I can choose to make it, because it fits within the game's lore, so I don't have to be strict to myself with it. Recently, I showed a sneak peek of a game that I'm working on the side called Gnostic Bombshells, and I call it a shitpost game. And after working on this new 6 Feet Plunder update, I gotta say, I gotta loosen up on my plans for Gnostic Bombshells because it isn't as wild as 6 Feet Plunder. Gnostic Bombshells has a clear story, and the wild part of it is the story and the set pieces. But the way I imagine it, it's like 6 Feet Plunder, where it's a vessel of jokes. And currently, it ain't like that. Well, at least not yet. I think I'm treating Gnostic Bombshells more seriously than 6 Feet Plunder. Like, there's more meaning into the name Gnostic Bombshells than for 6 Feet Plunder. Fun fact, the name 6 Feet Plunder came from a Vocaloid song called Breathe, where one of the lyrics was,
"Filling up my lungs, I'm 6 feet under, cast us under, yet here we are."
6 Feet Blunder coming from 6 Feet Under. A lot of the songs in the game are snippets of other songs from music I listen to, but they are karaoke versions or I cut out the parts with lyrics. Fun fact, this song Breathe is the game's title theme, except I looped an instrumental of the song's chorus. The phrase B-game was something I liked to have as a way to describe 6 Feet Blunder, but the meaning behind the phrase B-game was so inconsistent, I figured it wasn't a good way to describe it. Some people say a B-game means it's a game so bad it's good. Some people say a B-game is a game intentionally made to be shit. The meaning I would have liked it to have is the meaning that Bennett Foddy had given it. A game built more for the fun of building it than as a polished product. There are flaws in it that I, as an evolved game developer, now see, but that doesn't take away from the enjoyment I got from making it and seeing how it turned out.